It's not even the weekend, and I watched 4 movies because I apparently can put in an entire day's work and watch too many movies. This is what happens when you don't have a life and you don't do anything else. You just watch movies. And so that's what I did with my day. I watched movies. Specifically, I watched Ray Milland movies. It was his Summer Under the Star Day last Wednesday, I think. And I wanted to catch up on the films of his that I had not seen yet. So the first one I watched was 1950's A Life of Her Own. It's directed by George Cukor, and really, it's a Lana Turner movie. It is fantastic. I loved it. If you do not like melodrama, you will not like this movie. It is a melodrama to the core. It is a great melodrama. It has all the best things that melodrama should have. It has a model who thinks she's too old, so she commits suicide. It has a woman sleeping her way to the top. It has contemplation of being a kept woman. It has the moralities around being the other woman. It has a wife in a wheelchair. It has a man who feels like he shouldn't leave his wife in the wheelchair, but then the woman that he's sleeping with is like, maybe you shouldn't leave your wife in a wheelchair. It's 1950, and apparently nobody loves anybody once they're in a wheelchair. There's a lot of these movies from this era. I'm thinking like An Affair to Remember, etc., where if you are quote unquote crippled, you are no longer lovable, and it's terrifying and kind of wonderful, I guess, to know that we've moved away from that a little bit in society, where it's not like once you don't have legs, you aren't a person. Generally, the way these films go, if you're a woman and you're in a wheelchair, no one will love you, and so your husband stays with you even though he's cheating on you with other women. And if you're a man, you're in a Lon Chaney movie and you try to get revenge. Like that's the only outcome in old Hollywood. This movie was fabulous. I loved Lana Turner's character. She is a small town Kansas girl who's come to New York to be a model, and a whole bunch of amoral things happen. And it ends with this like amazing moment of her like walking down the street and deciding to not go back to this like sleazebag dude and just figure out something better. And she walks off into like the New York night with hot jazz playing in the background, and it is great. There's also a scene in a piano bar with a ventriloquist dummy sitting on a piano listening to music. It's terrifying. This movie's amazing. I can't recommend it enough. But if you don't like camp and melodrama, I don't know that you would enjoy this film. And a lot of people don't like Lana Turner, but like she's amazing. And nothing good ever happens to Lana Turner in movies, and I kind of love that. Like, if Lana Turner's in the movie, you know that the lead role is just her life is gonna go to shit. Like that's just the Lana Turner way. So the next film I watched, I didn't care for all that much. It's from 1953. It's called Let's Do It Again. It's directed by Alexander Hall, and it is a Technicolor musical remake of The Awful Truth. Now, The Awful Truth from 1937, obviously with Irene Dunne and Cary Grant, was actually the third adaptation of the play. No, the second adaptation of the play The Awful Truth. No, hold on. Third. Okay. Awful Truth play, 1922. It was made in 1925 as a movie. It was made in 1929 as a movie. It was made in 1937 as a movie. Leo McCarey won Best Director. Cary Grant was amazing. 1953, you have it made again. Alexander Hall. They decided to make it a musical. I don't think the two stars are even doing their own singing. Ray Milland is certainly not doing his own singing. I don't think Jane Wyman's doing her own singing. This movie's a bit of a mess. The only thing that I thought really worked was Aldo Ray as the he's the new boyfriend character. Forgetting the guy in the 1937 version, but he's good. There is no chemistry between Ray Milland and Jane Wyman. So to have a remarriage comedy, the couple that are getting divorced and then getting married again have to have chemistry. Otherwise, you just want them to get divorced and find someone that they have chemistry with. There's just no chemistry, so it didn't really work. And the musical numbers are kind of hard to watch. It's a bit of a mess of a movie. Jane Wyman is beautiful, though, so, you know. The next film I watched was so weird. This was 1949's Alias Nick Beal. I thought it was a film noir, like a straight-up film noir. It is kind of a film noir about the devil. Ray Milland plays the devil, also known as Nick Beal, and he is offering the governorship and other things to Thomas Mitchell, who is a very honest man who is doing all he can to take down the criminal underworld. And he's tempted by the devil, even though he's a really good person, because he sees this as the only way to take down people who don't play by the rules. He also is tempted by Audrey Totter, who has been tempted by the devil. She's a femme fatale, but like a devil-instructed femme fatale. And there's this just crazy things happen in this movie. It's fantasy and noir and a little horror all mixed into one wonderful spellbinding film. And really, Ray Milland gets top billing, but really Thomas Mitchell is the star of this film, and he is fantastic. So this was just a real fun film. I quite enjoyed it. And then the final film that I watched was 1962's Panic in Year Zero! Exclamation point, also known as The End of the World. And it's directed by Ray Milland. It was released by American International Pictures. It's a B picture. It's AIP. It's those. It was released as a double feature with Tales of Terror. It also stars Frankie Avalon and Gene Hagen. And it's a crazy movie. Like, so basically, Ray Milland, Gene Hagen, and their kids, Frankie Avalon and Mary Mitchell, are about to head out to go camping. And they're leaving LA, and the bomb drops. And they have to find food, find shelter, find weapons. They have to fight off people who have lost all their morals. They have to fight off small town people who are just trying to protect their own towns from other vandals. They have to keep the women from getting raped, because that's always what happens. They also don't let the women really do anything except when they almost get raped. That's unfortunate. They rescue a sex slave. They bargain for food. A lot of stuff happens in this movie while they're trying to stay on a moral high ground, and it's very much a exploitation film with a lot of camp performances and some crazy stuff. And it's in that Cold War paranoia era, 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis kind of land. Ray Milland is in full-on B mode. He's an Academy Award-winning actor, and he can give great performances, and he can go full camp. And this belongs in that level of Frogs and The Thing with Two Heads, kind of full camp. I feel like Gene Hagen was sort of underused in this film. Has a really great jazz score by Les Baxter, and it's just, you need some popcorn and a grindhouse floor, or outdoor screening, and you're sitting in the back of a Cadillac kind of movie. Apparently Frankie Avalon had so much fun making this movie, he made several more for American International Pictures, so at least everyone was having a good time when they made this. So these are the movies I watched. They are all still on Watch TCM for another couple of days. Most of them are on DVD and Blu-ray, so you can find them. I love Ray Milland. I've seen most of his leading roles, so I'm down to these strange things. But I think of all of these ones, the one I liked the most was A Life of Her Own. Just all that soap, all that soap. I loved it. I need to see more Lana Turner movies. I have yet to see a Lana Turner movie that I didn't like, so I need to watch more. And everyone read that beautiful Frank O'Hara poem, Lana Turner Has Collapsed. It is great. And you will never look at Lana Turner the same way again, because poetry sticks in your mind. Sticks in my mind, anyways. Ray Milland, Summer on the Stars continues. Tomorrow is French Autumn Day. That's all I'm going to be watching. Have a good night.